Are you into strange and spooky? Then you need to check out Shadow Market on June 27th from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. at the Manchester Event and Visitor Center in Manchester, Tennessee. It's just a short drive from Nashville. Shadow Market's a living tapestry of gothic goods, high fantasy, horror, dark art, oddities, and all things wonderfully weird. Pre-purchase tickets are just $11 or $15 at the door on the day of the event. You can purchase tickets and vendor booths now at shadowmarketus.com. Again, that's shadowmarketus.com. And be sure to follow Shadow Market on Facebook at facebook.com/shadowmarketus. Stay spooky. We'll see you at the Shadow Market. Welcome back to Southern Ghost Stories, where we explore the haunted history, folklore, and some of the darkest legends in America. I'm your host, the American Haunt Historian, Allen Sircy. Glad you guys are with me today. So don't forget, right off the top, I'll be in Lexington, Kentucky this weekend for Spawn a Scarefest, the huge horror convention. Y'all come see me, grab a book. It's going to be a lot of fun. Art the Clown, David Howard Thornton, Skeet Ulrich. They're going to have a cast reunion from Texas Chainsaw Massacre. All kinds of big pop culture celebrities, horror celebrities. It's going to be a huge weekend. So I'll be in Lexington for that. Y'all come see me. So I figured, since I'm going to be in Kentucky, why not do a show on Kentucky? So today we're heading to Hopkinsville to talk about one of the strangest tales in the history of the Commonwealth. On the night of October 21st, 1955, a terrified family burst into the Hopkinsville police station in western Kentucky, claiming their farmhouse had been attacked by strange creatures from another world. They said these creatures were small, metallic, big glowing eyes, long claws. They floated when shot. Over the next several hours, police officers, reporters, UFO investigators, and eventually the entire country became obsessed with what happened at the Sutton farmhouse near Kelly, Kentucky. The story, it became legendary. Some call them aliens. Others call them demons. Today we know them as the Hopkinsville Goblins, or as some call them, the Kelly Green Man. But what if the truth is stranger than the legend? Because decades later, a woman connected to the property came forward with a completely different explanation. One that turns the entire story upside down. Today we're diving deep into one of the most famous close encounters in American history. This is the story of the Hopkinsville Goblins. In 1955, the Sutton family lived in a modest farmhouse near the tiny community of Kelly, just outside Hopkinsville, Kentucky. The house, it was isolated among woods in a large field. It was rural, quiet. The kind of place where nighttime could feel enormous. That August evening, 11 people had gathered there. The family included brothers Lucky Sutton and J.C. Sutton, their wives, children, and a friend who was visiting named Billy Ray Taylor along with his wife. It had been a normal, humid summer night, around about 7 o'clock. Billy Ray Taylor stepped outside to fetch water from the well, and then he saw something up in the sky. According to Taylor, a bright silver object streaked overhead and descended behind a nearby tree line into a gully not too far from the house. He ran back inside and told everyone what he had seen. Most of the family dismissed it immediately, but then the dog started barking. Not normal barking, wild barking, terrified barking. The animals retreated under the house and refused to come out. And that's when the mood changed. Soon after, Lucky Sutton and Billy Ray Taylor walked toward the back door to investigate. And that's when they saw it. A small figure emerging from the darkness. The family later described the creatures as being around 3 foot tall, with oversized pointed ears, huge glowing yellow eyes, and long thin arms ending in claw-like hands. Its body appeared silver, metallic, almost glowing in the moonlight. Some witnesses claimed it floated instead of walking. Others described it as kind of waddling awkwardly. Whatever it was, that family was terrified and rightfully so. As the figure approached within about 20 feet of the house, Lucky Sutton, he grabbed his shotgun and he started shooting. Billy Ray fired a .22 caliber pistol. The creature was hit, but according to the witnesses, it didn't die. Instead, they said the bullets made a metallic pinging sound. The being flipped backwards, floated strangely to the ground, then darted off into the darkness. That should have ended the encounter, but it didn't. It was only the beginning. Over the next 4 hours, the Sutton farmhouse became a war zone. The creatures kept returning. Witnesses claimed they peered through the windows. They scratched at doors, climbed onto the roof. At one point, Billy Ray Taylor stepped out onto the porch. Suddenly, a clawed hand reached down from the roof and brushed against his hair. His family dragged him back inside just before another shotgun blast erupted into the night. One of the creatures supposedly floated off the roof after being hit. Again, there was no blood, no body, just darkness. The family described the beings as being fearless, persistent, kind of playful, like they were taunting the people inside. Gunfire exploded repeatedly through the night, and neighbors later reported hearing the shots. Some estimated that the family fired roughly dozens of rounds of ammunition, yet somehow no creature was ever recovered. By 11 p.m., the family had reached their limit. They piled into 2 cars and sped into Hopkinsville, panicked, shaking. The police station was suddenly flooded with terrified people insisting their home had been surrounded by monsters. Police Chief Russell Greenwell reportedly believed the family was genuinely frightened, and this is important. Even skeptics admitted the witnesses appeared sincerely terrified. This wasn't a group calmly spinning a ghost story around a campfire. The police took the claim seriously enough to respond immediately. Soon that night, officers, sheriff's deputies, Kentucky State Police, and even military personnel arrived to check out the farmhouse. And what they found was really strange. There were bullet holes everywhere. Broken windows, evidence of intense gunfire, but no creatures, no bodies, and no footprints that clearly explained the event. Some officers reported noting strange glowing patches in the grass near the house. Others claimed the atmosphere around the property felt eerie and tense. But by early morning, those creatures were gone. Within days, newspapers across America were running headlines about little green men attacking a Kentucky farmhouse. The timing, it couldn't have been better for a UFO hysteria. The 1950s were the golden age of flying saucer sightings. Cold War paranoia was everywhere. People feared nuclear annihilation, communism, secret government experiments, and above all, invasion. Hollywood was filled with alien movies. Flying saucers dominated magazine covers. So when a rural Kentucky family claimed they'd fought tiny silver creatures for hours, man, the public, they just ate it up. Reporters flooded Hopkinsville. UFO researchers and fanatics, they came to Kelly. The incident quickly became one of the most famous alien encounters in American history. Even today, the town hosts an annual festival celebrating the creatures and the attack on the Sutton farmhouse. The legend never died. But not everyone believed the Sutton family encountered extraterrestrials that night. One of the most common explanations involves great horned owls. And at first it sounds kind of silly, until you look at the details. Great horned owls are large birds with massive glowing eyes that reflect light intensely at night. Their feather tufts resemble pointed ears. When illuminated by under moonlight, their feathers can appear silver or metallic. And when startled, owls sometimes hop or glide in ways that can seem bizarre, in the darkness of night. Investigators noted that the creature's descriptions lined up surprisingly well with owls viewed under stressful nighttime conditions, especially by frightened witnesses already primed by Billy Ray Taylor's UFO story. Some skeptics also pointed out that no one was injured despite hours of shooting. No blood was found on the property, and no creature was captured. and many of the family members had reported drinking earlier that evening, though accounts vary on just how much. Still, the owl theory has some problems. Owls don't climb on roofs and wave clawed hands through windows for 4 straight hours. At least, probably not. And the Sutton family, they never backed down, not once, even after years of ridicule. The Sutton family paid dearly for the story. Their farmhouse became a tourist attraction overnight. People trespassed constantly, trying to find signs of the aliens. Reporters harassed them. Curiosity seekers flooded the area, and the family, they eventually moved away. And despite decades of attention, they consistently maintained the same core story. They insisted they had encounters with something real, something terrifying. No one in the family ever publicly confessed to making the story up. And for decades, the Hopkinsville Goblins remained one of the great unsolved mysteries in UFO history. Until a different story started to emerge. So as you guys know, I travel around from city to city. I do conventions, shows, festivals, from St. Louis, Huntsville, Nashville, Louisville. I'm all over the Southeast, Midwest. So in December 2024, I was selling books at a convention, and I had a strange conversation. A woman approached my booth, and she picked up my book, Fear and Folklore American Monsters. She flipped through the pages until she reached a chapter about the Hopkinsville Goblins. She started laughing. Not nervous laughter, not amused disbelief. More like the kind of laugh someone gives when they know a secret. I asked her what was so funny. She turned the book around and pointed at the chapter she was reading. "This isn't what happened," she said. "Those people saw something, but it wasn't aliens." Then she kind of hesitated, like she was debating whether she should go on and tell me the rest of the story. Well, finally, she leaned in and explained that the Sutton family had been renting the farmhouse from her relatives. According to her, the family had stopped paying rent, and they refused to leave. Her grandfather had allegedly grown frustrated trying to remove them from the property. So he and several relatives came up with a plan. After dark, 4 or 5 of the uncles and cousins supposedly put on masks and sweatsuits, and they surrounded the house. They banged on windows, shined flashlights inside. They climbed onto the roof, and they jumped around, trying to scare the family into leaving. Well, then the shooting started, and according to her, the prank immediately spiraled out of control. Those quote-unquote little green men, they fled. But the story had already begun. And once reporters arrived, the tale exploded nationwide. And according to this woman, the legend snowballed beyond anyone's control. She said they weren't pretending to be aliens. They were just trying to scare them. They wanted those people off the property. And if that claim is true, it changes everything. So, does that explanation actually make sense? Honestly, in some ways, yes. It explains why the creatures seemed humanoid, why they climbed on the roof, why the gunfire didn't kill them, why they retreated intelligently, and why no evidence was ever found. It also explains the chaos. Imagine sitting inside a rural farmhouse while masked men circle the party in darkness. You probably think you're under attack too, especially in 1955, especially after someone claimed a UFO had landed nearby. Fear does strange things to perception, but there are still questions. If this was a prank, why didn't someone confess earlier? Why let the story evolve into one of the most famous UFO cases in history? Maybe embarrassment, maybe fear of legal trouble, or maybe the truth became more entertaining than reality. Happens a lot in folklore. Once a legend takes hold, people stop wanting the ordinary explanation. And that may be the most important part of the entire story. Those goblins in Hopkinsville reveal how legends are born in real time. Take a strange night. Add fear, confusion, darkness, gunfire. Then pour gasoline on it with newspaper headlines, UFO hysteria, and decades of retelling. Eventually, the story stops belonging to the people who experienced it. It becomes mythology. The Kelly Green men transformed from a terrifying local incident to permanent American folklore. Movies reference them. Television specials covered them. UFO investigators dissected every single detail. And over time, the story became clearer. Cleaner, sharper, more supernatural. That's what folklore does. Sands away uncertainty until only the legend remains. So what really happened on that August night, 1955? Did a frightened family mistake owls for aliens? Did masked men accidentally create one of the greatest UFO stories ever told? Or did something truly unexplainable visit that farmhouse near Kelly, Kentucky? We'll probably never know for certain. But one thing is for sure. For a few hours on a hot Kentucky night, 11 people believed something impossible was outside their door. And nearly 70 years later, we're still talking about it. And if you enjoyed this episode, check out my book, Fear and Folklore American Monsters, where I dive deep into cryptid mythology all over the country. Bigfoot, Mothman, all kinds of wild stuff. It's available on Kindle. And if you have Kindle Unlimited, you can read it for free. All my books are on Kindle. And speaking of books, make sure you head over to Amazon and pick up my latest book, Pistols Red River. It's Andrew Jackson dueling story. It's a whole lot of fun. Actually, 2 duels in the book. Just guys in suits shooting each other in a field, man. It's a good time. And also, make sure to leave a review and subscribe to the show. That really helps more than people. Helps folks find the podcast. And I gotta ask you guys something. Have you been to Monster City Madhouse yet, Doc? Monster City Madhouse yet? The new shirt's a lot of fun. The Bride of Frankenstein has spoken. And honestly, she may have a point. The new Mini Monsters tee throws together a chaotic crew of pint-sized creatures, creepy cuteness, and vintage Halloween cartoon vibes in one gloriously weird design. Featuring tiny vampires, little mummies, swampy troublemakers, and one very unimpressed bride rocking the legendary line, "Boys are gross." Not sure about that, but that's what she says. So you can use promo code SAVE10 to get 10% off your order. Also, be sure to like Southern Ghost Stories on Facebook and Instagram, and send us some questions on our socials for the future Q&A episode I got coming up. And if you ever visited Hopkinsville or heard your own version of the Kelly Green Men, I'd love to hear it. Shoot it over to me. So like I said earlier, I'll be in Lexington, Kentucky tonight, Saturday and Sunday for Spawn Scare Fest. It's going to be a really fun weekend. Art the Clown, David Howard Thornton's going to be there. Vendors, panels. They'll be watching Jaws in the swimming pool at night. Not so sure about that, but there's going to be a lot of folks there. And also, don't forget the big shadow market coming June 27th at the Manchester Event Visitor Center in Manchester, Tennessee, just outside Nashville. Shadow Market's a living tapestry of gothic goods, high fantasy, horror, dark art, oddities, and all things wonderfully weird. Right now, tickets are just $11, but they'll be $15 at the door, so make sure you get your tickets today. You can purchase tickets at the in-vendor booth now at shadowmarketus.com. And be sure to follow Shadow Market on Facebook at facebook.com/shadowmarketus. And until next time, keep your porch light on. I'm the American Historian Allen Sircy, and I'll see you guys next week. Monster City Madhouse, a year-round online store full of Halloween and classic horror shirts with an emphasis on the vintage look. Use code SAVE10 for 10% off your order. MonsterCityMadhouse.com. Free shipping and financing's available.